from New York and on the new Hot 97 app. Ebro in the morning on Hot 97.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's Ebro in the morning. You have the beautiful Laura Styles. You have Rosenberg and Gary V.
Gary V.
on the program. Now, Gary, I'm sure most people watching this probably follow you on Instagram. How many followers do you have right now?
2.9.
2.9 million. So it's a healthy number.
It's a healthy number.
Very healthy.
Before Instagram,
Yes.
I want to run through a few things because I know you move quick, your mind moves fast. Before Instagram and your business that you do now, which is Vaynerchuk Media. Vayner Media.
Yep.
You were doing what?
I was running my dad's liquor store in Springfield, New Jersey, which was originally called Shoppers Discount Liquors. I grew up in that business since I was 14. We were in the Short Hills, Millburn area. There was a little bit of money.
Your parents are immigrants, right?
Yeah,
You are too.
I was actually born in Belarus.
In Belarus,
in
okay.
the former Soviet Union. Came here, grew up in Queens originally, then went to Dover for a quick second, and mainly grew up in Edison, New Jersey. My dad, I didn't see him for the first 14 years of my life. Worked every minute, saved up all his money, and eventually bought a small store in Springfield, New Jersey. I grew up in that store, $2 an hour, bagging ice, schlepping cases. Rich people like Mercedes and BMWs were coming into the parking lot because of Short Hills, Millburn, and I was like, I could see they wanted wine, so I fell in love with wine. I was slinging baseball cards, so my life was Beckett baseball card guide. And back in
love
the
the
day,
Beckett.
remember?
Classic.
And
But
then-
a good point, though, is you were selling something. You knew that you wanted to hustle something, right? You knew you had that in you.
Oh, if you want to take it way back, the first day I moved into Dogwood Meadows in Edison, New Jersey, 3 days in, I was 5.5 years old, six and a half years old, excuse me. I was ripping flowers out of people's yards, ringing in their doorbells, and selling it back to them.
I mean, it's in your
Wow.
blood.
Like it's about blood. Yeah,
It's in your blood.
this isn't. I read some book along the way, and I was like, oh, this is about business. Like I was a DNF student when every Russian kid that for everybody growing up in this area, like when everybody went to Brighton Beach and then Russians established shop. My parents went to New Jersey. We became Americans. We were proud of that. While they were getting A's and education was the way out, I was getting D's and F's and getting clowned on by my friends, my friends' parents, my teachers, but I always knew, it didn't make sense to me. When I was in 6th grade, why am I making $2,000 a weekend, right, in a mall selling baseball cards, and why am I a loser? But for a lot of youngsters listening...
So you were making money as a kid, you're saying they're making fun of me and I'm actually kind of killing it on the weekend.
And you guys know this, at least you two, like, in the 80s and 90s, like, entrepreneurship wasn't a thing.
No, I mean, lemonade stand.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
little here and there,
DJs
but
in
it was,
clubs,
we didn't have a word
maybe.
for it. I could let me spit it real straight to the kids. If this was 1994, I'd have 2.9 followers.
Right.
Like there was nothing cool about businessmen and women. There was just like
Nor was there a way to reach people on a digital platform
Well,
in
that's
which
right.
you don't have to be out and constantly meeting people 24/7.
That's right. There was, and even before the internet, like CNBC, like the wall, like it was just old white men. There was anything.
I gotta say, hip hop made the executive cool. Hip hop made the business. Hip hop made being an executive, and maybe even Puff.
Yeah, I was gonna say Diddy really goes a long way to that whole story, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you're
And Russell.
Yeah.
yeah, well,
Simmons.
Russell was
Simmons.
like really for sure. But like again, this is the luxury of like if you're
I was gonna go with Diddy today, but keep going.
I mean, Russell was the
You can't rewrite
executive
history.
side.
You can't rewrite history. No, you're right.
If you have the luxury of being over 40, you watch the whole hip hop thing happen, and you're absolutely right. Like we didn't see businessmen and women that had swag. Like Bill Gates was as nerdy as you could possibly look, and he was the guy. So yeah, it's super interesting. But yes, to the punchline of your question, all I've ever done was work. All I've ever did was work. All I ever thought about is like, can I buy this? Can I sell this? Like crazy stuff, like going to the Phillipsburg Mall in Jersey, buying Shaq figures at the dollar store, walking across the street, walking across the mall, and returning them to Kmart and making pretend I lost a receipt. So I would just buy something for $1 and get $8 back. Like whatever angle I could come up with. So that was my story.
And so fast forward, when did you go Instagram or technology? Like what was
YouTube.
YouTube.
So actually, it was WineLibrary.com. I launched WineLibrary.com in 1997. Internet was real early. The thought of a liquor store having a website made no sense. All my dad's business friends made fun of him. Like, why are you letting your son do this? This is gonna blow people's minds. The internet's a fad. That's what people were saying. In the
That's
remember?
true. Yeah,
remember?
that was
It's
a thing.
fad.
Wow.
And so I believed I built a huge business for my dad. And so it went from a $3 to a $45 million business in a minute, which means you go from, I bought my car at a garage sale. I bought a 1976 Monte Carlo for $550 at a garage sale. That's how I got my car. Now all of a sudden, my brother and sister has a Lexus. Like, I changed our family's trajectory. And then YouTube came out, and I was like, there's something about this. And so YouTube was like 4 months old. Nobody was on it. Like Lazy Sunday, that video from SNL that really made it pop.
Lonely Island, yep.
Didn't come out yet. It was real early. And I'm like, something's going on with this thing. So I started a wine show. I just, with a camera like that, just started drinking wine and telling people. And what got weird was I got scared for being bullshit, so I would tell the truth. So even though I was selling the wine downstairs, I started saying things like, if you buy this wine, you're gonna get cancer. I was saying ridiculous things. I was like, do not buy this wine. This wine tastes like a sheep farted on. I was just saying ridiculous things.
Wow, people loved it.
They loved it because people were confused. They're like, my own company was confused. People would come up to me in my own company like, we have 100 cases of this wine downstairs, and you just said it tasted like if you stepped in dog poop and were cleaning your shoe. Like, nobody's gonna buy this. And I'm like, I can't lie. I'm gonna lose, because then somebody's gonna come up to me at a party, give me a glass of wine and be like, do you like this? And I'm gonna say no. And they're like, well, on the show you said it was awesome. So all I was doing was spitting fact. It made people trust me. It made the store blow up even more.
People bought the wine to see if it actually tastes like dog shit.
Both ways, right? Sure. It was weird. People were buying the wines I was clowning on just as much as the ones I was loving. But what really happened was it put me into tech. A few minutes later, I saw Twitter. YouTube sold to Google for $2 billion. I was like, wait a minute, there's some different stuff going on besides just, like this, like what I'm doing with wine. I'm like, I'm gonna be an angel investor, because I read an article that the angel investors in Google put in $25K and made like 29 million. I was like, fuck, I wanna be down with that, right? And so the next time I feel it, because I felt e-com, I felt email, I felt YouTube, I was like, the next time I feel it, I'm gonna go. And next thing I know, I went to a conference in Austin, Texas, and this new thing called Twitter came out. I'm like, this is gonna be big. And this time, instead of just going on it and selling wine, I became friends with the founders. I invested. Then
So how much did you put in?
I put in $40,000. That made me close to $10 million.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
Solid.
that's a good return.
Solid. Good for you.
Then I was in New York, and Tumblr was popping with junior high kids, and I was like, there's something with this Tumblr thing. So I got friendly with David Karp, and I invested in that. And then I made a video that Twitter's sneaking up on Facebook, and Facebook should be paying attention. And I got an email from Facebook that Zucks wanted me to come out and speak to the company because he wanted to hear why. I dropped my speech. He came down. He's like, you want to have dinner? We became friendly. And then my real game changed, because I bought a bunch of stock from Mark's parents in 2008, and I haven't sold a share yet.
From this Facebook.
And so like that put me on as like, he's smart.
Yeah.
He's an investor. He knows where the world's going. And then I decided, you know what? Yeah, but I'm not really a venture capitalist. I'm not one of these Wall Street characters. I'm not a banker. I'm not that. And I was like, I'm just gonna build VaynerMedia. I'm gonna build a huge media company that just knows how to produce content for whatever comes next. Instagram was 11 days old before my brother reached out to Brisk Iced Tea, our client, and we made a Brisk Iced Tea can for South by Southwest with 100 Instagram photos on it. It was 11 days old. Like, I've always been on early, but I'm giving everybody who's listening the highlights. I was on Social Cam early. I was on Plurk early. You don't know about these
You give me
things.
some bad ones. Give us some other bad ones.
What the hell is Plurk?
I put $100,000 into Yobongo. I thought that was gonna be I thought that was gonna be a beast.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
So like,
No Friendster money? You didn't spend
no,
Friendster
that was
money?
before
Okay.
my time. But
Right.
you know, here's what it is. It's the same old thing, right? You guys come in here. People are gonna talk about their hits. People are gonna talk about the ones they discovered. The reason winners win is because they don't give a shit what you think about their losses. The reason I roll the way I roll is I don't care what your opinion is. I don't care what my mom's opinion is. And when you're in that cocoon, then you could just go fast, because, when I love losing more than my biggest competitor loves me losing, well, I'm unbeatable. Like, because I love losing. I love the climb. I love the grind. I don't want the riches.
But you would say at this point it's easier when you've had successes to appreciate the losses, right? Like, you can't afford a loss at this point now as well.
I'm going to say something to you, and like, honestly, we'll probably get to know each other for a long time, and you'll believe it a lot more in 5 years than you will right now. I fucking love when people shit up. When I came out with my sneaker, I did a K-Swiss collaboration back in
Yeah, I
November.
remember. That was cool.
Right.
The amount of back channel chatter, and it's right. I'm a 42-year-old white businessman. What the fuck am I doing with a collaboration, right? And there was chatter, because even though I've done well, right? There was a lot of chat. I didn't do well in that world. So all the sneaker executives or all the kids in the street or all the people were chattering. I loved it so much. I loved when everybody.
You like
made
the adversity.
My man, when I was 23 and I would like see some of my high school friends for like football during Thanksgiving, and they all looked at me like, "Oh, you work at your dad's liquor store?" My man, the chemicals in my body, I love it.
So, but going back to that, like you could say you love it now, but I'm sure as a young kid working at your dad's liquor store or being an immigrant, getting bad grades, these other things, these these experiences built what you now have turned into. This is an adrenaline rush.
Well, like because you said the thing earlier about when you were like, I'm making money selling baseball cards on the weekend. But it's obviously at that point still irks you. They're like, who the hell do they think they are mocking me?
At some level, I listen. Like somebody's gonna leave a 1-star review for my book today, and it's gonna irk me. Not because it's not gonna break me. It's just gonna be like, damn, I wish I came through. Like I wish they like it. To me, it's not like they're not hurting me. It's just like I feel like I let somebody down. Like when somebody quits VaynerMedia, I'm like, damn, I let them. I feel like it's on me. Yes. Let me tell you something, the advantage for a lot of listeners of this show, a lot of us in this room, that people don't understand. The adversity, the negative, is the advantage. People fear losing. And when you're losing from the get, when you start off losing, you don't fear losing. You just convince yourself the game is rigged and you start dwelling. If I can get you to stop dwelling, and if I can get you to stop fearing losing, then you're off to the races.
So here, that's my next question. You said if I can get you, and this is one of the things we talked about with you, because in this room we talk about that we sometimes are douchebags and laugh at motivation. Like
I talked to him. I was like, yo, I want to bring you on because on the show, no one on the show posts motivational things.
But we started talking about you because we're like, damn, everyone's fucking posting. We saw Cypher posting. I'm like, everyone's posting Gary Vee.
Especially when it was some people in our circle, because at first we were
totally
like, whatever.
Right, so you're like, so what is
Our
it about
peers?
Gary Vee they like so much? Now, clearly we can understand right away, this is the business we're in, you're a very compelling talker, right? So like that part's super clear. Sure. But when you said the thing of like, if I can get you to, and if I can get you, so what was the part of you that made you be like, I enjoy motivating other people to do it?
I think the perspective that my mom just did it. I feel a weird, I don't want to call it guilt. I feel almost a weird, my mom did it, my man. My mom raised me so well. My circumstances gave me a feeling where like I'm so happy that it's like, I don't know. It's just, it kind of came natural to me to like say, like if I'm so good, like it just feels good. Like if I show you my email, I'll do it right now while we're talking. If you look at my email, it's hard not to like get high off of people emailing you. Listen, I didn't make any, if you go on the internet right now, there's no content about me from 2011 to 2014 for one reason, because I'm more like you than you think. I shit on motivational speakers. I hate it. I got scared that my book went so viral that people thought I was a motivational speaker. I actually stopped making content for 3 years and built VaynerMedia into a $150 million business because I myself wanted to remind myself, me, that I was a businessman who happens to be rah-rah and excited more so than I'm a motivational speaker. I leave money on the table every day. I can Tony Robbins and Oprah this shit to the fucking end of life. I'm just not interested. I'm interested in doing me, documenting what I'm doing, putting out content, and if you happen to pick up on that and you're pumped and you want to email me and say, I was this and now I'm that, that's a high that nobody can ever understand, but I don't want to do that full time.
Got it. That makes sense.
I think that's why your quotes aren't like esoteric and like, you're when you post quotes on your IG page, it's very like matter of fact.
People seem to love that part too, that like you're regular man speak in your motivation, right?
Because I'm undereducated. I laugh. People are like, you're so creative. I'm like, no, I actually don't know the real quote of what I'm trying to say. like, it's so crazy. Like, it's funny how things happen. Your world. Good looking man back there, Mike Boyd. He's been with me for 10 years. Mike Boyd had Mac Miller and Wiz Khalifa coming through our office 9 years ago before he ever hit any shows like this. He gave a Nicki Minaj shout out when she had 4,000 followers on Twitter. We've been following along the whole time. It's just that Instagram, I was winning on Twitter, but Twitter was tech kids. Twitter wasn't cool in 2009, right? I was winning on all these platforms. It was just that the crescendo moment was I won on Instagram, which was much of what I always did. But the real world, like the cool world, the whole world, every world came to it. And more importantly, I think entrepreneurship is on a pedestal right now. we all grew up, a lot of listeners grew up where rappers wanted to be athletes, athletes wanted to be rappers. We live in a world right now where rappers want to be athletes, athletes want to be rappers, and they both want to be entrepreneurs.
That's a great point.
I mean, like, I was at a Knicks game with my brother, and during warm-ups, and I'm living my life, I'm taking a selfie with a kid who's like, you're cool, and then I get a tap on the shoulder, I look over, and Kristaps Porzingis comes over, and he's like, I'm a fan. And I sat there for 5 minutes with my brother, and I was like, this is the craziest shit of all time. This guy's winning New York. And forget about me. Entrepreneurship has gotten into a place where people think it's cool. And by the way,
when Porzingis winning, I mean, he's a winner. We like him.
He's winning.
The Knicks need to win more.
Respect, but he's winning.
No, he's doing good.
Winning in life. He's winning in life.
He's winning in life.
Guys, the last 20 years have hurt.
Yeah.
Like, even this hope of what he might be.
So let me ask you this then, Gary V.
Yes, sir.
Do you believe that Kristaps Porzingis, if healthy, is the kind of dude who can be the 1A player for the Knicks and lead them to a championship?
100,000%. But you're smart. I'm real scared that he can stay healthy. When you look at that whole situation, like the frame and everything, I'm like, man, how?
Well,
Like,
and
it's so
and really,
cool, right?
and
No,
really the
I'll wear it all the
style
time.
of play, right? Like he jumps, he blocks a lot of shots. He leaves his feet a lot. Like if you
I
were to compare
can't-
him to a Dirk
that's so
Nowitzki,
right.
who was
That's
more of a
so
jump
right.
shooter,
Great
stayed
point.
low to the
That's
ground.
such a great point.
He leaves the ground a lot, which makes
Yo,
his ankles
KP,
and knees.
if you're
and-
listening, stop jumping.
Seriously. Please stop.
Like, please.
But that's his game. Like he likes to. He
I
likes
just
to be
worry. You know what?
athletic.
I worry two things, Gary. I worry number one about his health, and number two, I worry about decisions he makes sometimes to
Off the
rest.
court?
No,
Oh.
to rest in the sense that you have to be smart and you have to rest. But sometimes I'd like to see at his age a little more go-getter in him. That's like, no, I'm not missing the Golden State game. I'm suiting up for Golden State.
I think that's super interesting. Back to psyche. I'll be honest. We're not winning shit right now, and I'm secretly like, keep banking those games.
Right.
Because if
Save your legs.
if Frank pops, if the ball bounces right this year, if we get one right free agent as we clean this up, it can get real interesting, and we're gonna be all real happy. This is what I hate about sports. I'm a diehard Jets fan. My whole life in business is about buying the Jets.
I
right?
saw that Seif in one of Seif's posts about you showed the Jets shit in your office.
That's all I care about.
love, but that made it was a point of respect for you because your life is filled with so much winning, and you're a Jets fan, which is filled with so much losing,
My man,
which I appreciate.
Honestly, you're gonna start breaking down the psyche. I grew up a Yankee, Ranger, Knick, and Jet fan, and I'm completely Jets and Knicks. It's because I like the process more. I just like it so much more. Once you win, what?
It is true.
Like what?
That's weird.
Like I made a video a long time ago. It's sitting in a bank. I held up like a newspaper, like I was like a hostage in Afghanistan, and I was like, "This is the worst day of my life," and I'm gonna air it the day I buy the New York Jets because the chase. And there's a lot of people like that. I like the chase.
And you're gonna buy the Jets one day.
I'm completely, utterly convinced. Now, Woody and Chris have to pass away at the right time. I have to have the wealth at the right time. There's so many variables I can't control. What I'm trying to control is amassing the wealth and making moves. I sold a piece of my company to Steve Ross, the owner of the Miami Dolphins. That got me into the Super Bowl family. So like this weekend, instead of just like doing cool stuff, I'll be in the owners' events where you get to shake hands and kiss babies.
Right.
Because one day those fools are gonna have to vote me in, and so I'm on a 50-year mindset.
When you get in, can you handle player situations like kneeling better?
I think I can because I'm going to come out with my truths the same reason people fuck with me now. I'm going to come right out and be like, they should.
Because all they had to do was just stand next to those kids and say, hey, if this is what you're passionate about, we're going to figure out a way and work to work with
politics
community.
publicly, but when that popped, I was like, because people ask me a lot because of the Jets thing, I was like, I would support my players all the way through.
They put their bodies on the
My
line.
man,
Like, what
forget
are you
about
doing?
bodies. Nobody has empathy. I don't care what your point of view is. I went to Mount Ida College, 95% minority kids. I went to the mall 7 times in the first 14 days that I went to Mount Ida College. I got pulled over 4 times. You know why? Because the other 3 kids in the car with me were black. I'm like, unless you live that, you can't understand that. And I didn't live it. I was close to it, but I'm still not it. But like, don't sit somewhere where you've never interacted with a culture and judge. You don't know what you're talking about. In the same way in reverse. Like when I'm on shows like this or when I talk to homies where I'm talking to the culture and I'm like, yo, I got friends who have $10 million in the bank, trust fund babies who are more miserable than you. They're like, get the hell out of here. I'm like, you have no empathy. that sounds good.
Right.
What do you think it feels like when you've lost before you started? Because no matter what you accomplish, everybody's gonna be like, your daddy put you on. You suck. And that starts chipping away at you.
Yeah, no, I think that whole situation was about empathy and
100%.
lack of understanding,
And changing the conversation into something that it had nothing to do with.
of course.
Well, that's when I stopped watching football. I stopped watching football because when the protests first started, everybody was like, don't watch this shit. I was like, I'm watching football. I love football. The moment the owners and the president tried to begin this confusion, I was like, well, they all donated to his campaign. They all hang out at the same resorts.
Hey, bro, you know what
they're in shenanigans. I'm not falling for it.
Here's the problem, though, right? Like, we pick and choose boycotting. Like if you really break this down, like, for example, all my friends who love the environment, the fashion industry is doing more damage to the environment than almost every industry combined.
Facts. People do pick and choose.
We pick and choose.
Absolutely.
But
that's what boycotting's about.
But don't go to casinos then because you hate Wynn, or like don't watch this movie because you hate that. Like it's yes, but to me, one of the things I think a lot about is within the picking and choosing. What are you trying to accomplish? Like what people do on social media. We've got tons of tough people on social media whose actions off the Twitter are totally different.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, people love to say something on Twitter.
Do people come for you? Are there anyone who people? I mean, I know there are people I'm sure who hate on you, but is there anyone who really comes for you, like that you have problems with, or you? I mean, you put out a lot of positive energy. So
people start it. What I think deters people from going is, first of all, they investigate. Like people are always trying to get you, especially if you're really out there. If you're pushing positivity, you're vulnerable. Because people are always cynical because they're protecting themselves, and I get it. So, when they start digging, they're gonna struggle because I'm like 8 Mile. Like Eminem did it right at the last scene. When you put out all your vulnerabilities first,
Mom spaghetti, man.
That's
Mom
it.
spaghetti, that's all you need.
Like that's it. Like what are you gonna say? So that, and number two, I understand. I'm empathetic. Like when people shit on me, or like snake oil salesman, charlatan, things, I'm like I get it. Like they were on YouTube, they caught this 1 minute clip. Who am I for them to spend 3 hours in digging through my background and figure out who I actually am? So I'm just empathetic. I'm like, I understand
why you'd see you that way.
If they were in the, depending on this interview, if they popped in for a minute in the right moment, I don't know where we're about to take this conversation, I can get real peacocky and real cocky and real confident and real egoed out. And if that's the 1 minute they popped in the car and then they went to do well, they're like, fuck that guy.
You'd be like, I get it.
I get it. So to me, it's about the race. Like I'm always in the Fresh Prince, Marky Mark, The Rock business. Let me explain. The Fresh Prince is a very different character.
And Ebro, he did meet with The Rock, so there's a little jealousy right on. Let's just start right there.
He is
I know.
the
Look at that. Look at his eyes.
Well, I'm torn.
There's a little hurt right
I
there.
heard The Rock was a real strong Republican. I gotta do some
that true?
research.
By the
That's what I
way,
heard.
that's a very overstated.
I just said I gotta do some research,
Yeah,
man.
I
Calm
don't-
down. You have to ride for your WWE guy. Can I just?
Well, he spoke at the
Can we
convention
call
like.
it WWF? I'm
we can't-
old.
We can't. I work
Why?
there. It's WWE. I'm just kidding. You can go ahead. They don't sue. No one
Go ahead,
cares.
go ahead.
Go on.
Marky Mark,
Yeah.
The Fresh Prince, The Rock are all very different people right now. And they all got shit on when they tried to transition. Because we put people in a box.
Yeah.
Like even in my little world of like 1,000 fans, when I switched from the wine guy to the business guy, all the people in the wine world were mad at me.
Right.
And I was like, yo, I was the business guy long before the wine guy. I'd spent the last 10 years before I started the wine show building a
they don't know you
business.
like that.
And that's it. And so like to me, I'm not worried about being booed in the third quarter. I'm just not. And so like I know how this score ends up. And so I'm just waiting.
You said you don't like speaking politics in public.
Yes,
Why?
because people are on tilt.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
We have no real conversation going on. Everybody's binary. It's just not black and white. There's just a lot of issues. And like
Some things are gray.
a lot of things, well, it's more than less than gray. I'm thrilled to be like, yo, of course, being mean to any group of people is just the war. You will lose forever. Negativity can win short term. You will always lose.
Oh,
the
it's
long-
winning. It won short term.
It
Well, that's why he's in there.
My
He
man,
ran on
it
Trump ran on
It
negativity.
always wins short. Like it's real easy to win short-term negativity, right? Like, but long-term positivity always wins. It's just history. But there's a lot of different little issues. So for me, it's not about money or social issues or things of that nature. It's just issue by issue by issue. So like unions, like I was born in the Soviet Union. I don't like them as much as other people do. I'm super socially democratic. I voted for Hillary. Like I'm thrilled to talk about what I do, but I'm just not all here
Right.
I don't like certain things that both parties do.
And on this program, we openly
That's
talk.
totally.
I'm an independent. I'm a registered independent, but I've never voted Republican because they tend to go down some deep moral
You know why?
thing
That's
that
right.
I'm not.
Because it's for me, the Republican Party's biggest issue is you could be right up 99 issues, but if you shit on somebody, I'm already broken.
I can't
I'm
mess with
broken.
On that though, it's
Yeah.
interesting because and the reason I asked you about this is because as an immigrant, right?
Yeah.
You come to this country
Yeah.
and you come from the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
You know what that's about. Your
Yep.
parents land here and they know what America is
Yep.
about, right? I think one of the issues that some people have in America is they forget what this country's, I guess, mission statement is, right? Some people feel lied to, right? Like it's supposed to be just and fair, and they're like, it's not. Right. Some people forget it's about money and capitalism, right? And that this is about money. What in your, I guess, the way your mom raised you, your dad raised you when you got here as an immigrant helped you really see what this was and what the game needed to be for you and your family?
So for me, 42 years into the game, I think it's just about alternatives. I've lived the last 10 years where my Republican friends said they were moving to Canada when Obama won, and my Democrat friends said they were moving to Canada when Bush won the second time. Everybody's moving to Canada, yet nobody's fucking moved to Canada.
Right.
Like to me, it's just actions are louder than words. Like this is about alternatives. Here's the truth: the internet in America right now has given everybody a shot. SoundCloud is better than somebody sitting at the top of a record company. YouTube is better. Like going on YouTube and Instagram and not having a casting director or an agent in Hollywood decide that you're funny. Like King Batch didn't need to go to Hollywood and get signed. He just made Vine videos. I don't think people understand. So here's my thing. This is the greatest for me, for a guy like me, this is my favorite time because everybody's dwelling. They're dwelling about politics. They're dwelling about Facebook is giving fake news. The Russians are hacking. I love when people are looking at the defense because that means there's more offense for me. To me, what it taught me is very simple, which is you either complain or you don't. You either have perspective or you don't. And more importantly, these are truths. Everybody's got strengths and weaknesses, right? Who would have ever thought that hip-hop would become the core pillar of popular culture in America 20 years ago when it was 30 years ago, 40 years ago when it was just this seed of a little thing that became an advantage for people that grew up in the game and know how to swag it out in today's society.
Which we've seen with a lot of people who've become key players in advertising and business, et cetera.
Guys, it hasn't even started. It's so much bigger than people realize. If you don't have a sense of the streets, you're not going to be relevant, period, over the next 20, 30 years. Because that's what the internet has. Its scale of the micro becomes the macro. Back to your
Say that
one?
again
Sure.
for people who don't get it.
Sure. Real simple. Let me give you a couple analogies. This last year was the worst year for the biggest artists in the world because the machine can't help Katy Perry as much anymore. Because people are dying the death of 1,000 cuts. Because Tierra Whack's gonna get her listens. Because Killy's gonna get listens. Because Lil Xan's gonna get listens. Because Gunna is gonna get listens.
Alternatives.
It's just scale of alternatives. This isn't about an alternative college station running some wax. This is SoundCloud and Spotify are big. Scale. Fucking MTV 84 scale. And that changes everything. The tastemakers and the gatekeepers are losing leverage. You guys come on here and day after day put somebody on, you'll make them, right?
We've done it.
Of course.
But it's not the same as it was for
No,
sure.
it's not.
Of course
Takes
not.
longer.
You know why?
Yeah, we're
Because if
forced to
Rap
recognize.
Caviar puts you on 4 weeks in a row, you're in the mix.
Right.
Because if Logan and Jake Paul put your music in their vlog for a month in a row, you're in.
So tell me something you don't like about that. Because I could give you 80,000 things I hate about it on top of the good part.
About it. I'll tell
so
you
there's
why.
There's no downside,
None.
you think, to the...
Here's why.
Not just that, though.
No, I got it.
Internet in general,
Yes.
though.
The purity of the market is the market is the market. I may not like what the world has decided is awesome, but I don't have the audacity or the ego to decide that I know better. The market is the market is the market, my man.
Well, what about the numbers being leveraged by the people who are still trying to play the old game, which does happen?
Break it down for me because I want to make sure I
Well,
understand.
for example, SoundCloud plays,
Yes.
YouTube plays,
What about
get
it?
altered by big business who wants to try to act like they're playing in that game, so they fuck with it, and it can have an impact.
It can have an impact, but the funny thing is way, way, way less than 25 years ago. We're in a place where we're trying to game a platform that is non-human versus let me give you a bag and put this on rotation until America. I mean, it's so different. I love when everybody's mad at the new game. I'm like, guys, 3 old white people used to control every thought you had. How do you, guys, there's a lot of youngsters listening. Guys, Michael Jackson couldn't get plays on MTV until CBS really threatened to pull everybody off of MTV. Michael Jackson. Like, what world? Like, I know that, like, it feels bad and there's all these things. It's better in life than ever now, not because we're better as people, but because the internet is decentralizing the world. All this cryptocurrency, Bitcoin stuff, everybody's in the craze. They're not being thoughtful. It's not about Bitcoin. It's about blockchain and what that technology means, which means you and I can sell you my home. One quick transaction on the blockchain, we both trust it, it's good, and none of the banks and all these people get their hands in our business.
Right.
Like, shit's going down. So go get yours. Like stop telling me you're gonna, or stop telling me like you got held back. If you have a smartphone, and guess what? All of you do. Well, then you have a studio in your pocket. If you're so good, spit your... Do I have to tell you about all the people that went and did car studio videos and put it on Instagram and are popping? Like, stop bullshitting. Now there's no more excuses.
And that's the part you really like about it.
I love it because again, I got lucky to go to Mount Ida College. My entire dorm suite were rappers. And I would watch them, and instead of saving their money and going into the studio, they would buy a 5th of Hennessy or a fucking dime.
There are times when a 5th of Hennessy is very important.
I mean, it helps with the bars,
Correct.
man. It does help with the bars.
What?
100%. But guess what? If you don't go into the studio because all you can afford is the bottle,
or if you just enjoy the Hennessy and decide, you know what, we'll just go.
It's exciting to me because everybody had excuses. Prince worked as a janitor in his studio and exchanged his fucking mopping people's fucking piss to get in studio. That's why Prince won. It's not just talent. The only thing you can control is the work.
Can I add one thing there, Gary?
100.
The thing is, and I agree with you.
Go ahead.
75% on how good it is reaching an audience.
Understood.
But the reason we got the Prince that we got is because he was committed enough to the art and was that good that he was going to clean up piss to do it.
But you guys are talking about different things, right? So
no, hold on.
So the reason you say you only agree with 75% is what he's saying is everybody's got a shot now.
And I agree.
Right?
Well, that's insanity.
That's insanity.
Right.
That's insane. Just so everybody understands, and again, understanding the demo of this and a lot of the undertones that we're talking about, that is crazy. Is everything.
That everyone has a shot. Yeah, it's a big deal.
That takes away everything that's coming out of your mouth at the dinner table tonight, because that's the truth. Because if I ever think Hillary Clinton or Barack Obama or George Bush or Donald Trump has any impact on me, I'm a fucking loser.
Say that again.
That was a good one.
Super simple. The president has no impact on your life's happiness. Go do it.
So, and the reason that you guys are in different places is because everyone having a shot levels the playing field. However, you're saying, but everyone having a shot pushes a lot of garbage into the system. However, what we've seen generally is there's some blips. There's some artists that blip that aren't the greatest at the craft. Maybe they want to get better later, right? People criticize Cardi B, right?
Yep.
She popped in the system, but now we're celebrating her because we see her getting better. She's continuing to work and she's taking the craft serious. I do truly believe that eventually the cream, the super talents, will rise to the top. They will the one bag won't be enough. They'll really want to do it. Not because they got rich, but because they want to be great at something.
I'm just
saying
saying
that
be
the best at something,
couldn't agree more.
And that will continue.
And I agree. I think for the most
calibrate
part,
the system.
I think for the most part it balances. But my point is this: Prince, for example, a Prince out there who had nothing, so his way of doing it was by sheer brick and mortar work every single day. That person can be now beaten in perceived hard work by someone who's better connected to technology.
Right, but only if they stop, right? Because you break a lot of artists, bro, who have come to you day in, day out, and they're pushing. Right? They're delivering you records every month in your email.
Yep.
They're emailing you.
And they're not always great.
And they're not great, but they keep going. And you tell them. And they keep coming, though. Sure. And they're posting on their gram, and they're connecting with this one and connecting with that one and trying to create a community that's going to share their music. And they're at the Who's Next event at SOBs. And then they're hoping Drewski gives them an interview. Then maybe you give them and they're working the system. Like they're working. And they may not make it.
Yep.
Especially if they stop. But they also may trip and stumble get something that might take them to the next level. We've also seen super talents who have zero work ethic, and we're like, yo, what the fuck is your problem? Like, whoa, we're calling them as people who work in the radio station.
Begging them to do more.
And like, yo, my man, you are woman, you are special.
Honestly, my man, the more interesting part is, for as hard as Prince worked, and I used that as the example, James Brown was like, "Fuck Prince, I worked harder." And before we can't help that technology changes. And
every generation has said the generation before doesn't understand.
Because it's the truth. Technology makes things better, makes it easier. But the internet is all time. Meaning, in 200 years, when they're talking about history, they're like, that internet thing. And we got to be here in the beginning of it, which means there's more for the taking. Somebody bought an acre on this island called Manhattan for no money.
Right.
For $1. Just so everybody understands, somebody bought the land we're sitting on right now. Somebody bought that one day for $1. It was early. It was early America, but it happened. And I think what's happening right now, my 2.9, that's going to be 92.9, is because I understand, oh shit.
You're going for 90 million followers.
I'm going to get them all. I'm going for 7.7 billion followers. Why not? Like, why not? I got good intent. I'm intrigued. I want to see how it plays out. It was funny. I was talking to my man D-Rock yesterday. I was like, D-Rock, how long do you think it would take me to become the most famous person in Chile? And he said, 9 months. And I was like, cool. And then this is why I'm glad you picked up on it. I'm like, the fact that we're even having this conversation is so ludicrous. The fact that I can do Facebook ads and Instagram ads and put out content for 6 to 9 months in Chile for the tune of maybe $8,000 to $15,000. And literally, if I take a flight to Chile 9 months later and get off, it's going to be like a Hasselhoff in Germany situation where people are just going to lose their mind. That's special. It is what it is. And so everybody's dwelling like Russians are hacking us and everybody's in my feed. Nobody's in your feed. You liked something. That's why shit's showing up. We don't like blaming ourselves. We like blaming something else.
Let's go into that.
Please.
Because a lot of people don't realize that about their behavior on the internet. And it does make people afraid. I had a whole debate yesterday with the Amazon's Alexa's listening to you, right? Versus, Apple?
I want Alexa to listen to me, by the way. Just so everybody knows. I want Alexa listening. Because she's going to make my life better if she hears everything.
Tell me, what does that mean?
If she knows everything on my mind, she can get smarter and then make it easier for me. If she knows that I'm talking about root beer with my buddy, she can hit me up 4 days later and be like, yo, root beer's on sale.
But the fear, talk about the fear in that
the
people
fear
have,
is people
though.
don't understand what happened. It's over. Guys, it's a wrap. There's no hiding. Here's what's going to happen over the next 100 years, and I'm glad I'm putting it on film and audio right now because either maybe I'll be alive because technology's changing or my great-grandkids are going to be proud of me. We're about to go through the craziest 100 year of human beings. We're going to take one big step backwards. We're in the beginning stages. I think we're going to have a 10, 12 year of tension about all this shit. Right? This is not, by the way, this is not going away tomorrow. By the way,
you mean the State of the Union tonight's not going to fix our tension?
Never does in either direction, right? Definitely not going to fix our tension. Of course, that's what he does. But you have to understand what's going to happen. Everybody's going to get called to the mat. And then what people are going to realize over the next 20, 30 years is like, wait a minute, everybody's flawed on something. Who's perfect? There's not a person in this room that doesn't do something that all the rest of us would judge as a real bad thing. It's just the way it is. So it's going to take us 40 years to get there. But once we do, people are going to be like, okay, wait a minute, we need to reset. Like if everybody's got something, we need to react appropriately to that something. We need to have different conversations. Like the way we treat alcoholism today or depression today, the way we didn't 30 or 40 years ago, right? That scarlet letter is going to change. And what's going to happen is we're going to live totally different lives. We're going to be far more acceptant of shortcomings over time because the hypocrisy is going to be out the bag.
Some cultures I would argue are already there.
Yeah, I
agree. Some societies are already there.
France with sex, for example, right? Like people just roll. Like I did a lot of wine business. Like I can never forget. I was a young kid. I'm rolling to like business meeting. Dude walks in, and first walks in his wife, and like hello, and then some younger woman walks in, and she sits down. Like, is this the daughter? Nope, that's just the mistress. But it's accepted in that culture at scale.
Yeah. Germany, same thing.
Exactly. And
sounds
like,
lit.
You should move.
Sounds lit.
But like honestly, it's going to be a lot of that stuff, and that's how we're going to. When stigma gets away, we can start addressing mental health and alcoholism and drug use, and it's just. I think it's going to be crazy good. But first, we had to like get the light shined on our darkness. People are getting called out at scale right now, and it hasn't even started. started, excuse me, right?
Tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, it's just
you see it every day. It happened
Yeah.
in your guys' world yesterday again. Like it's every day. The
Now,
same-
by the way, Gary Vee,
Right?
for the 8 people listening or watching who do not know what Gary Vee is doing, his book Crushing It is out today.
It's available.
Yes, everywhere. Everywhere. And he's crushing it. And this is the follow-up to Crush It. He was going to crush it. He's now been crushing it. And the follow-up book, Crushed It, is going to be phenomenal.
Will be read at my funeral.
That's what I was gonna say.
I'm
on the-
actually not even joking. I'm actually thinking that's what I'm going to do.
Oh,
I'm gonna
come
write-
on. You got to talk at your own funeral. That's what you do is talk.
By the way, I love funeral.
Really? You're a big funeral guy?
No, I hate it.
Okay.
I love my funeral
already.
already.
You already planned it.
I just have a feeling my family's going to be surprised how many people show up.
They will be. If they're sleeping on you right now, they will
Because
be.
here's the thing. Think about the people you, and I'm actually going to go a different place. It's not about 92 million or 7.7. Whose funeral? Think right now. This is going to interest you because I'm into this shit. Whose funeral in the last like 3-4 years? Whose funeral you went to and whose you didn't will fascinate you. Funerals are the great exposer of what your relationship was.
Oh,
It's-
absolutely.
It's super. It blows me away of the ones that I was willing to miss.
So that's a great. I'm not going to lie. It's a great question. I could do 2 days on this.
That's crazy, right?
I love. That is a great point.
and honestly,
Because you can't miss the ones that you can't miss. You can't miss.
You can't
So it
miss.
means you absolutely didn't miss it.
And
It
guess
wasn't
what?
like something else came
and
up.
guess what?
You couldn't miss
that
it.
wasn't because I put a fresh fucking quote on Instagram.
No.
That wasn't because they saw a video and it made them a little extra money. That wasn't that. That was some stuff that only my inner circle knows. That's where I'm living my real life. That is the stuff I'm most
But I
excited
will
about.
say this
Right.
from
I love
being
that.
Please.
doing this job for 30 years. There are people
Since
who,
you were one?
No, since I was 15.
You're looking good, man.
Thanks, man. It will surprise you the amount of people that honestly feel like you're a part of their life.
100.
Right? When they approach you,
100%.
you're like, bro, I don't even know you like that. But they know you like that. And they will be at your funeral if you gave them the opportunity, because in their world, right, it's just different.
Especially the kind of work you do, with the way you tap into people's.
Well, that's right, and that's been what's interesting to me, and I've been more fascinated because like real legends. Let's talk about music for a second, like David Bowie, Prince, like
Sting, who's going to be here in 8 minutes, by the way, so we really have to consider
Okay,
that.
so I'm gonna drag this out so I can get Sting some dabs. Second, on a real note though, it's crazy, right? Like Prince, that was a 36-hour news cycle. Like I'm like, I'm in it for the legacy, right? I'm getting a little bit like beaten up. I'm like, man,
Well, no, you're
some real
Gary-
legends are like only getting like one day
Gary,
and we're moving on.
Gary,
right?
you're crushing it. Let's be honest. The book's called Crushing It. Your news cycle right now, it's like 38 seconds. Mine, a small thing in the daily news. I mean, we got to get to the next level.
I know.
We gotta
get to work.
You need to get, if you want to get that news cycle,
I get
that
it,
Prince
brother.
news, that Princess Diana.
I get it.
Because that's
But-
when you know when you're like, wow, this took
Are
over.
you guys
the entire
really
news.
concerned about your death news
I am.
cycle right
I
now?
am.
though?
By the way,
Like, think about
ready,
that, guys.
Ebro,
That's
You want
problematic.
to take it to a different place? It's the only thing I'm doing. I'm being. I just want just so
You
know.
just want at least 7 days news cycle for Gary
Seven-
Vee.
no.
I
Stop
want
it.
the
Only
word-
Michael got
I want
7.
November 14th to be a national holiday in America.
Your
Wait, you
birthday.
already know you're
My
going to die
birthday.
on November 14th?
No, it's
No,
my
it's his
birthday.
birthday. Not the other way.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Like on a very serious note, like why not? Why not have an ambition to do so much impact? Like why not?
No facts.
Like why not? Like Muhammad Ali is Muhammad Ali because he understood the media at the time.
Yeah.
And I understand the media at this time.
Yeah, you do. By the way, and Dr. King was someone who also really understood the media well.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, like master of media.
Guys, that's who, like, just to wrap up, and I know you guys, I gotta bounce. The people that understand where the attention is win. When you say the streets, that's called the attention. And so figure that out. Once you figure that out, everything in your life will get
And
better.
relative to your world.
Correct.
Right? Relative to
Yeah,
what
you
you're
can't start
trying to
You
accomplish.
can't start making up stuff.
Right.
Right? You can't start making up stuff because you will be exposed real quick. Real quick. I don't talk, go look at all my content. I talk about very few things. Like, if you want to talk about 1980s wrestling, I'll talk to you.
Great.
Right? I'll talk about
90s hip-hop too, right?
That's exactly right, because those are the couple of things I knew. I'll talk about I talk about wine, I talk about the stuff I know. When you start thinking you're somebody, and now you're special, and you start trying to have your 2 cents on something, one of the biggest reasons I don't talk about politics is I know that I don't know a lot.
Right.
I read a headline, but I see people talking about the things I know. They think they know about Instagram. They think they know about Snapchat.
Right.
They're social media experts. They write books. They're clowns.
Now this is my kind of talk.
Gary Vee, give it up
Book's
for
out.
new book, Crushing It.